UPS-Teamsters talks collapse. Squirrel. Keep getting distracted. See? What's going on in UPS? I think most people have heard about this, but too many people haven't. So UPS drivers are pissed off, and they're right. And they're going to talk about why. But union officials blast UPS for saying that the company has nothing more to give workers, which is nonsense. Our friend Chris Walker over at Truth Out, Indie Media Award honoree. All right, good publication. They've been doing a fund drive. Please support them if you can. All right, but negotiations seem to have stalled between the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, which is representing UPS workers, and the company, as the latest round of discussions ended early on Wednesday morning with no new agreements made. This is rough because the latest development suggests that the Teamsters are one step closer to a strike as UPS workers' contract is set to expire at the end of this month. The union is seeking better pay and working conditions for workers. We've talked about this and covered it. We've covered this a couple times here on How Do We Miss That? But in a press release discussing the latest round of negotiations, right, Teamsters wrote that they unanimously rejected the most recent package offered by UPS company officials, which they should. So as a result, the company walked away from negotiations around 4 a.m. Wednesday, the press release said. Now, that came from the union. Now, UPS claimed that it was the union, not the company, that walked away. Okay, the company also peddled common anti-union talking points, accusing union negotiators of creating unease among employees and customers and saying their actions threatened to disrupt the U.S. economy. Well, maybe you should pay them.
God forbid.
Maybe you should pay them. What do you think?
It would be nice.
Right? Teamsters rejected that notion, said the company was disingenuous in stating that it had nothing more to give to workers. Union also pointed out that workers had been overworked and underappreciated, especially during the pandemic when revenues for the company increased by record margins. Oh, yeah, there's that. Just no biggie, right? This multi-billion-dollar corporation has plenty to give American workers. They just don't want to. And that's Sean O'Brien. He's the new Teamsters president. He's pretty inflammatory, or he's got fiery rhetoric, and I love it. He said UPS had a choice to make, and they've clearly chosen to go down the wrong road. And he's right. And I love that he's standing by his workers and he's not caving to management. So you got over 300. You've got over 340,000 full and part-time employees who are set to see their contracts expire on July 31st. And if a contract is not agreed upon by that deadline, workers will go on strike, with 97% of union members that voting in favor of such action in June. And we definitely covered that 2 weeks ago. Union officials are seeking higher pay and better working conditions in light of the company's skyrocketing profits throughout the pandemic, like we said, during which workers were not offered pay increases. How the hell did they do that? Although the company agreed to put air conditioning in all the drivers' vehicles by next year, that doesn't mean this summer. UPS workers still say they face grueling conditions on the job, which they do. Okay, they've reported long hours, overwhelming demands from the company. One worker, for example, described working 60-hour weeks regularly, 5 days a week, and called that demand a violation of our lives. Sometimes they even demand a 6th day. If they were in the car business, that's every week pretty much. They get 1 day a week off, and maybe they're scheduled to have 2 days a week off, but they're expected to work at least one of those days, especially if it's the last week of the month. But I get these guys. Look, it's physical. All right. They've also said they were promised double time in certain circumstances, only received regular pay when their checks came. Sick day requests are also not being met. That's messed up. Additionally, they're being overworked on conveyor belts, forced to continue the machine's operation even when larger packages are being handled. Dangerous. So that's putting them at physical risk on top of everything. So a strike would likely put a significant dent in their bottom line. And everybody's talking about this, that the last time UPS workers went on strike in 97, the company lost around $850 million, and several customers took their business from UPS to its various competitors. So that's really important. So that's good. I like hearing that the union isn't willing to back down.
It's nice that they didn't capitulate. Yeah.
So this continues. The next day, we've got Jake Johnson, who's been covering this over at Common Dreams. All right, again, they have a simple choice, the union, new contract or nationwide strike. We really mean it. So what do they really mean? Well, union reiterated that it's fully prepared to call a nationwide strike as the Teamsters National Committee returns to the bargaining table in hopes of reaching a deal. So we heard about this, right? UPS, whose CEO made $19 million last year, they just wanted to throw that in. It's not like $19 million would pay for anything that the drivers are, that these Teamsters are looking for, the union members deserve and have earned. But still, it just shows the massive wealth gap between the people at the top and the average employee who is working, I believe, 20 hours a week. Who's getting $20 an hour.
Yeah. Which is barely anything anymore.
Right. So here's the Sean O'Brien tweet about when we say a new contract, we mean it. Right. So they've been tweeting out a lot of strong rhetoric, which I love seeing. Like I said, Teamsters negotiators have tentatively secured a significant number of victories already, including an end to the two-tiered wage system under which part-time drivers earn $15 an hour and full-timers earn $20. So union announced over the weekend that it reached a deal with UPS to scrap forced overtime on drivers' days off. Well, that's nice. You still have to come in, but you won't have to work overtime on your days off. Right?
Which is what you would want if it's on your days off.
At minimum, like unreal. So whether it's overtime our members don't want to take, holidays they know they deserve, or equal pay for equal work, if we stay united and commit to protect each other to the bitter end, there is no chance in hell that we lose this fight. And that's their secretary-treasurer over at the Teamsters. All right, so Jamal Bowman showed up, and AOC showed up, and they did a little stunt to try to show that they had solidarity with the...
Yeah, at the same time, she endorsed Joseph Biden, who killed the train strike to begin with. Like,
nonsense.
How can you do the same day? Same day? You couldn't wait a day?
And she showed up, Bowman showed up in a Wu-Tang t-shirt, like, so performative, such theater.
Hello, fellow kids.
Oh my God.
Pretty much.
Right? It's terrible. The next day,
a madman.
Jake reports on how Teamsters now say the contract talks have collapsed, and we said that after UPS made an unacceptable offer. And we've got a lot of this similar article to Chris in Truth Out, but I wanted to mention that Common Dreams also had this one. And then what's happening over at UPS? Now, Luigi Morris, he's with Left Voice. Big fan of Luigi Morris. He's a good dude. This is an AI image generated of all these packages around Manhattan, like filling up Manhattan Island, Amazon packages. Very cool.
Manhattan.
But negotiations with UPS collapsed. They're still prioritizing their multi-billion-dollar profits over our lives as part-timers, and he is one. We're tired of the sweatshop working conditions and poverty wages. Get ready, because it looks like on August 1st, we are having a historic strike at Teamsters, right? And he says, what do we want? Minimum $25 part-time starting wages per hour. Catch-up raises for part-timers, longer breaks, and more full-time positions transferring over. Right, so
like basic crap, pretty much.
I screen capped him also, from
$25 is still like
not
barely
much.
Scraping cost of living in Mississippi.
Yep.
Like, let alone the rest of the country. Like, it's like the cost of is $15 an hour, I think, in Mississippi, and that's I think it's more than that. That's for like no other family members.
Right.
And there's also the issue of how important their work is.
Yes, so they're essential.
They're being kind of undermined for how much, we all rely on them, as well as, UPS relies really hard on USPS workers as well. Mm-hmm. And so these people are working really hard labor jobs and kind of being gaslit about the importance of their work, how much wealth it generates. And, I think it's wise of them to keep on with their protest here, because it only makes sense. They only have something to gain here, because they're right. There was so much wealth generated, especially during the pandemic, but now even afterwards, now people are even more reliant on ordering things than they were before.
Oh, hell yeah. And so what's cool is these guys have been laying the groundwork at the union. So what do they do? So first of all, California Amazon drivers have picketed 7 warehouses. So I wanted to mention that because Teamsters are organizing picketers and strikers across different organizations, and they're regularly leading strikes. They're not just talking about coming to the table and negotiating these things away and giving it to management at the last minute. They're actually standing up for the workers, at least to a point. So drivers extended their picket line to a Norwood, Massachusetts warehouse today. And actually, Starbucks Workers United workers were even there from Boston to support them. But I wanted to mention this one. Teamsters will withhold our labor if we have to. Again, this came right from the Teamsters Twitter account. With 23 days to go before a new deal must be struck, UPS needs very few reminders of what's at stake here. Supply chain solutions, the movement of commerce throughout this country. Then they have this video from 1997 about what happened and how much business they lost and how they literally got knocked off the #1 spot for years. And that real damage being done to the opinion that UPS is capable of being a responsible, trusted employer. If a TA on a new contract is not reached by July 31st, UPS will force 340,000 Teamsters nationwide to withhold our labor for higher wages and better working conditions. These are benefits and compensation that we have earned and are rightfully due. UPS is on the cusp of putting itself on strike. I love that language because this is what they're doing. Let's hope the world's largest and most successful delivery logistics company is smarter than that. Sean O'Brien is amazing at rhetoric. He really is. So what do you need in order to be able to go on strike? First thing is you need a strike fund. You need solidarity. So you need a strike fund. They got a massive strike fund. So they are prepared to put their workers on strike. You also need organization, and you need the ability, you need people to know what's going on and what to do. So UPS Teamsters will win against corporate America. Again, more rhetoric from the Teamsters. For too long, companies like UPS taking in profits. Corporate America will not be allowed to degrade standards for working people. All right, one union. Again, they've got a nice little thread there that ends in hashtag hot union summer, not hot labor summer, but hot union summer. I think that might be a dig. I love this one. I found this meme, UPS telling everyone how mean the Teamsters are, wiping their tears with $100 bills.
I love the whole hot labor summer branding that makes a ton of the money somehow with merch and all that fun stuff.
Hot union summer doesn't make them anything. It's just something to literally like, hey, search hot union summer and you'll be able to see that. But here's what the other thing the Teamsters are doing. They're having practice strikes, practice picketing for their members. So what are they going to say? What are they going to do? How are they going to behave when they get out on the picket line? That's part of organizing strikes, is organizing. What are you going to do when you strike? Not just how are you going to take care of your members, but what are you going to do when you get out on the picket line? How are you going to affect change? How are you going to get people's attention that come by? And how are you going to get management to pay attention?
Doing wind sprints.
Right? From Florida,
get a real practice in.
This was July 7th. From Florida to Alaska, UPS Teamster practice pickets are everywhere. Preparations for the largest single employer strike in U.S. history are ratcheting up at all UPS facilities. And you've got drivers, handlers, ramp managers. That's a lot of sea of brown, okay? That is a sea of brown uniforms, a lot of shorts and a lot of bare legs. All right. So, why? Now, I like this too, that the union is putting out messaging, their own PR. This was our biggest argument and contention with our friend Chris Smalls. And I know that, that Reef was going to talk a little bit about what Chris Smalls is up to this week. Oh, man.
Just working with Reverend Al Sharpton.
Reverend Al, come on, man. No, Reverend Al. No, you can't. So disappointing. All right, but look at exactly why. By the numbers, why is it time to pay up for UPS? Because they spent $8.6 billion on stock buybacks alone. If they put that kind of money into supporting their workers, that makes a serious dent. Forget the $19 million that they pay their CEO. $8.6 billion in stock buybacks. That's serious. $100 billion in total revenue in 22. Now that's not after expenses and taxes and everything, but that's their revenue. That's their top line revenue. That's substantial. They still made oodles of money, huge handfuls, but $45 million last year on executive pay. And these guys are deciding that $25 an hour is not enough for their workers and for their part-timers. And I think that's disgraceful. So here is a practice picket in Landover. I believe that's in Maryland. Again, July 7th.
It is indeed a picket.
What's a practice picket? They're doing this on their own time. They can't do this while they're working. They're like getting off of work and getting on the picket line. Because they're to show how freaking serious they are. And I love that. Again, much solidarity.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Couldn't you just do a real picket and not a practice picket? You can just go do a picket.
Well,
you know?
They have to give corporate until that date to come to the table and, have a tentative agreement. When you set a deadline, you got to hold to that deadline. Now we all know this guy, Joe.
Yep.
Joe, INN member Joe, shut the fuck up, shit lib 3, makes our killer hilarious videos, makes fun of AOC and Anna Kasparian and Jimmy Dore, and makes beautiful videos in tribute to Julian Assange and everything else. Well, Joe is actually a UPS-Teamster who works on a loading dock down in the Philly area. So today he told us, he messaged me on the 7th that UPS just laid off 11 people on my shift. I believe that was Friday morning, yes. People have absolutely had it. Philadelphia Air Hub is pissed and we're ready to strike. So July 13th, they are holding all day.
And those air hubs are like fucking torture chambers too.
Woo, hot as shit.
Like, yeah, and the trucks are even hotter. Like
ovens.
Literally. Like Easy Bake got nothing on them trucks, man. Like it was 93 yesterday. Like, could you imagine Florida?
Not in the trucks with the sun beating down on those metal boxes all damn day. Yep.
A brown box. Like that absorbs heat.
The most heat absorbent thing there is.
Must be terrible.
Hey, so